Good morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you're well. If you don't know who Martin Lewis is, he is the money-saving expert. He is like a bit of an authority on a website about how to stretch your pound out and, save a little bit of money here, do things to make your expenses be better. He has been on Good Morning Britain recently talking about the cost of living crisis. He has great concerns about the future of our finances and can't genuinely think of anything that he could advise that would really help. Now, if Martin Lewis can't think of something that is going to make things a little better, I guess we're really in trouble. Anyway, I've got his video here. I'm going to play it for you. Stick around to the end and you'll hear how I feel about everything as a whole.
Now, we are in the worst position I have seen since I started being the money-saving expert back in 2000 for people's pockets. And we have to be very careful not to lay that all at the door of Ukraine, because it isn't all the fault of Ukraine. Some of it, much of it, was in place before we got here. And we have to be careful there isn't a narrative that the terrible things happening to people in Ukraine, we have to suck it up because of what's there, because it isn't all about that. I think we have to suck a little up, but I think equally the Chancellor has to suck his ideology up of wanting to be a low-tax Chancellor, because this isn't the time. And with energy bills looking to rise £1,300 in a year, which is absolutely what is nailing this more than anything else, people will need help or they will have to choose between starving and freezing. When I say I'm virtually out of tools, that's because in past times I would say you're paying too much, you're on the price cap, you need to fix, and here's the savings. There are no fixes available on the open market that anyone should be going for. There are very few existing customer fixes. Most people have already cut their usage back. Most people have insulated their homes as much as they can, although we could do with more support for insulating people's homes better. All the usual tricks, all the usual tools are gone. So what we have to do is look at government and say, you need to bring prices down, especially for the poorest, and rising up to some in the middle who, while they may be able to afford the cost of living increase, as in they can pay for it, everything else in their life is going to have to go. So it's a massive standard of living drop. And that's the position we're in today, and it's very scary.
I think that it's going to cause an awful lot of people an awful lot of concern about everything to do with their finances in the next couple of months. We're really going to feel it. I mean, we really are. However, the Conservative Party narrative on this is to start to blame the war in the Ukraine for the pinching of our pennies. Martin Lewis said in the video that the Ukraine is minimal to blame, and these processes and procedures and failings were all in place long before the Ukraine war. Many of us know and accept and understand that it is the Conservative Party that's caused these things, and the Conservative Party just wants to shrug that off, just like it shrugs off everything else, and not take any responsibility for it. I just don't get how some people are going to accept that the blame will fall with the war in Ukraine. Are people that stupid that they've forgotten the past sort of like 10, 12 years of austerity, of like poor decision making, of utter selfishness? I just don't understand how making the people that drive the economy, people like you and me that, we get our wages and we go and spend them on things, on stuff, on the day-to-day things that cause that marker, that KRA, that important factor that we are measured on as a nation called growth. It comes from spending. If you take the ability of people to spend away, how can it fix growth in the economy? Then you have the people that like to hoard their wealth, the collectors of the pound, the people that sort of like have offshore accounts, people that have like mass a lot of. I don't begrudge people, saving and keeping their money and stuff. I really don't. That's not what this is about. This is about the ability to feed your kids, to pay your bills, to have power, or heating or eating, as we've come to learn about it. So the question remains, Scotland, what are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Well, to be honest, there's not much we can truly do about it instantly. Okay, there really isn't. We need to just be cool and do our best to get through it all, and that's a horrible thing to say, but it's the facts of it all that the decision-making process of the Conservative Party has led us into this particular terrible situation where everybody that is a worker will actually feel the pinch, and they're going to react to it. They are. And I think that more people will turn to believing that Scotland can make these decisions better themselves than having Westminster do it. I mean, if you want to sit back and be nannied by an abusive nanny called Westminster and think that their decisions are all right, just wait until the penny pinches in, and wait until you have to make those difficult financial choices about what you're going to have to do. And that's really cruel of me to say that, but sometimes people need to have that shock. They need to understand that it's not a game, it's real. This is it. These decisions, it's not about waving a Union Jack and British nationalism and the Queen. It's about your kids. It's about everything like that. I truly hope that we don't have to live like this for too long. I really, truly hope. And I really hope that we get to the point where we're going to have IndyRef 2 and we're going to vote yes and get through the transition. And although it's not going to be an instant process to bettering our lives, at least every decision that is made for Scotland will be made in Scotland for Scotland, as opposed to the needs of greedy Conservative Party members, backhanders to their mates and their cronies, and being at the behest of their party donors. I think the coming months is going to be difficult, and people will look to blame people for this. Just remember, it's not the Russians and it's not the Ukrainian war that has caused this. It is nothing other than the Tories. And Scotland right now has no choice whatsoever in chucking them out of Westminster. That will never in a million years happen. The only way we can get rid of the selfish Conservative decision-making process is with independence. Thank you for listening. Goodbye and good luck.